we are going to be learning to construct simultaneous equations. So, first equation. At the conclusion of a tour of Wonka Willie's confectionery factory, Neutrina buys 10 shock bowls and 8 fizz whizzes for $4.30, and her friend purchases 6 shock bowls and 9 fizz whizzes for $4.05. Determine the cost of each type of lolly. So the first thing I'm going to do is really just look at what is the information that's given me for my first equation. So it says here, um, Neutrina buys 10 shock bowls and 8 fizz whizzes for $4.30. That's the first equation that I'm given. The second equation I'll do in purple, and it says that her friend purchased 6 shock bowls and 9 fizz whizzes for $4.05. So I'm going to write this into two equations. Now, because we don't know the price, I'm going to label shock balls as a C and fizz whizzes as an F. So that's the price per fizz whizzer, and that's the price of per shock ball. So the first one, I'm going to have 10 shock bowls, so 10C, plus 8F is equal to $4.30. The second equation that I'm going to have is 6 shock bowls, so 6C, plus 9 fizz whizzers is equal to $4.05. So this one here, it'll be easy to use a calculator, but I'm just going to work on the first one just because it's got 10C and 10 makes it easier. So I'm going to get C by itself. The first thing I'm going to do is take away 8F to both sides. Remember, equal sign means equivalent. That gives me 10C is equal to negative 8F plus 430. I could have written it if you would much rather me do it. I'll erase. I could have also changed that and I could have written it as 430 take away 8F. So either one is correct. It doesn't matter. Just if you wanted to say negative 8F at the start. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 10 to get C by itself. So that means I've got C by itself, but I need to go, what is 4.3 divided by 10, which is 43 cents or 0.43. And negative 8F divided by 10, so 8 divided by 10 is 0.8. So I've got negative 0.8F. Now I've got my C by itself, I can substitute that into my second equation. So wherever I've got a C, I'll put brackets and I'll put 0.43 times, whoops, times, sorry, eraser, 0.43, take away 0.8F, and then I'm plusing 9F is equal to 4.05. Now I'm just going to expand it. That means I'm going 6 times 0.48 and 0.43 and 6 times negative 0.8. So 0.43 times 6 is 2.58. 6 times 0.8 is 4.8. It'll be a negative, so negative 4.8F plus 9F equals 4.05. Now we just need to simplify. So straight away, I'm just going to look at my F's. I've got negative 4.8 plus 9. That gives me 4.2F. So 2.58 plus 4.2F is equal to 4.05. I'm going to get my constants to my right-hand side, so I'll take away 2.58. So 4.05 take away 2.58 gives me 1.47. So 4.2F is equal to 1.47. The next step that I would like to do is get F by itself. So I'm dividing by 4.2 on both sides. If I do that, that gives me F is equal to 0.35. Now I know what F is, I just need to substitute it into C, to one of the equations to find out what C is. So look at my first one there. I've got 6C plus 9 times 0.35 is equal to 4.05. 9 times 0.35 is $3.15. So plus 3.15 is equal to 4.05. Now finally, to get C's by itself, I'm just going to take away 3.15. That gives me 6C is equal to 0.9 or 90 cents. And then I'm just going to divide by 6 to find out the value of C, which I get 15 cents. With the second question, the sum of two whole numbers, x and y, is 41. The difference between them is 3. Write two equations involving x and y and solve them to find the numbers. So the same thing applies here. I'm just looking at my first equation that's given me. The sum of two whole numbers, x and y, is 41. So all that means is I've got x plus y equals 41. The next equation, it says difference between them. So if I take them away, I'll be left with 3. So my next equation will just be x take away y is equal to 3. Write two equations involving x and y. I've done that and solve them. Okay, so if I'm solving them, I need to think about what strategy I'm going to be using. I could use simultaneous, or I could use elimination. Doesn't really matter. In this case here, I'm just going to use elimination because if I already line them up, x plus y equals 41, x minus y equals 3. If I take away or plus, let's see, if I take away, then the x's will be cancelled out. So that's probably the easiest way. So let's have a look. X take away x is 0. Y take away negative is plus, so y plus y is 2y. 41 take away 3 equals 38. The next part, it just says I've got 2y equals to 38. So to get y by itself, I divide by 2, and that gives me y is equal to 19. Now I know what my y is, I can substitute it into one of my equations. So I'll just do it to my second one. X take away 19 equals 3. So x must equal 19 plus 3 equals 22. Okay, the next question. A farmer counts emus and sheep in the paddock and notes there are 57 animals and 196 feet. Assuming no animal amputees, how many of each animal are there? So there's two equations. One is just talking about animals. So that means emus we have and sheep, and they total 57 animals. So E plus S is equal to 57. The second equation that we're looking at is talking about feet. So this is a bit of prior knowledge coming into this of using the real world. So in this case here, in terms of feet, I'll just change color. I've got emus. Now, how many emus? How many feet do emus have? Emus have two, so it'll be 2e. And then it's talking about sheep, which is S. How many feet does sheep have? 4, so it'll be 4s. Is equal to 196. In this case here, it's going to be quite easy just to substitute, or I could double and then cancel. It doesn't matter. For this case here, I'm just going to double. So if I double both sides, it is equivalent. So if I put that underneath, 2e, 2 times s, and 57 times 2, 114. The reason why I chose this because I just thought I can make my numbers a bit smaller straight away, so I can then look at it. I'm going to take it away. I'll put my takeaway signs in. So 2e take away 2e cancels out. 4s take away 2s equals 2s. And 196 take away 114 is equal to 82. The final step is to get my s by itself, so I'm dividing by 2, and that gives me s is equal to 41. Now I found out how many sheep I have, I can go back to the original equation. E plus s is equal to 57. S is 41, so I substitute that in. E plus 41 equals 57. Now that just means to get E, I just need to take away 41, which my emus will then be 16. Okay, this question will be a bit more complex because there's a lot of information in there. A businessman, a business person hires a stretch limousine for 2 days and a sedan for 3 days whilst on an international trip. The total cost was $675. Okay, first step, let's just write it down as how many days. 2 days for limousine. So limousine will be L. 2L. Sedan for 3 days. 3S. And the total cost will be 675. Okay, the next, let's keep reading. And the limousine cost triple the price of the sedan. So the second equation will just be limousine is equal to whatever the sedan is and triple it. So 3S. This makes it very easy to substitute because we've got an easy formula for L, which means I'm just going to substitute that into my equation. So yeah, I'll just change the color here. So that means instead of saying L here, I'll put brackets and I'll put 3S plus 3S is equal to 675. I can simplify that. 2 lots of 3S's is 6S. So 6S plus 3S equals 675. How many S's do I have? 9. So 9S is equal to 675. The last thing I need to do is divide everything by 9 to find out what the sedan cost is. That will give me $75. If I know the sedan cost is 75, I'm just going to use my second equation to find out what the limousine cost is because it's easier, and L is already by itself. So 3 times 75 will give me the cost of 225. The last question that we are going to be doing is a manufacturing plant produces fixed, square, and circular metal panels. If the mass of a square panel is 13 kilos and that of a circular panel is 22 kilos, how many of each panel are there in a truck loader with 65 panels of total mass 1,205 kilos? So the first thing I'm going to look at is the following. We're talking about square and we're talking about circular panels. We're talking about the number of panels, and we're talking about the size. So that means I'm just going to label it as S and C. My first equation can literally just be S plus C is equal to 65 panels. Now I look at the next part, which I will change color. It then says the square is 13 kilos and the circular is 22 kilos and the total mass is 1,205. So that gives me my second equation where I say whatever number of square is worth 13 kilos plus whatever number of circular it's worth 22 kilos. And the total amount is 1,205. This is where it's going to be easier now for me to get either S or C by itself. So I will just get S by itself. So I'll take C away because this allows me to substitute it into my equation. So 13 in brackets 65 take away C plus 22C is equal to 1,205. We just need to multiply 13 by everything. So 13 times 65 is 845. 13 times negative C is negative 13C plus 22C equals 1,205. I'll simplify my like terms on my left-hand side. So negative 13C plus 22 is equal to 9, so 9C. So 845 plus 9C is equal to 1,205. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my constants onto one side. So I'll just underline them. I'll move them over to my right. So 1,205 take away 845. That gives me 360. So 9C is equal to 360. Quite clearly we can see it's part of the 9 times tables. So we're going to divide everything by 9. And that tells me C must be 40. So I've got circular panels, I've got 40 of them. To work out how many square I've got, I'm just going to use this formula on my left-hand side. So square is equal to 65, take away 40. That clearly tells me I've got 25 square.